know, but we have a football game at 2 o'clock. We can get a uniform set up for you. If you want to hop in. Our next inductee is John Waldman, class of 1980, who excelled at swimming. Among many of his accomplishments, John captained the Hebron swim team, was an All-American and All-New England Prep School champion in the 100-meter breaststroke in 1980. Similarly, John went on to be an All-American swimmer in college, then qualified for the Olympic trials in 1984. John continued his pursuit of excellence as a masters swimmer, setting the SCM world record in the 100-meter breaststroke that stood for 17 years. To induct John, I'd like to introduce Charlie Lowndes, class of 1983, who is a teammate of John's and a fellow member of the Hebron Academy Athletic Hall of Fame. Join me in welcoming to the podium Charlie.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Lowndes. I'm a very grateful class of 84. And I have the great honor this morning of introducing my teammate, colleague, and friend, John Waldman. John has an impressive list, some of which you just heard, of accomplishments that somebody will pour over in much greater detail in his induction in the International Swimming Hall of Fame someday. They include spending a year at the University of Pittsburgh before transferring to Indiana University, where he swam for the godfather of the sport of swimming, Doc Councilman. He's an NCAA Division I All-American. That's a big deal. Big Ten champion, ranked 11th in the world in the 100 breaststroke in 1983. Finished 9th and 18th in his events at the 1984 U.S. Olympic Trials. Canadian Cup champion in the 100 breaststroke. And after his collegiate career, he went on to be a 5-time Masters American record holder and set the SCM, which is short course meters, world record in the 100 breaststroke that stood for 17 years. And still, most of his contributions to the sport of swimming have come on what we call the dry side. The company John founded in 1987, Fluid Mechanics, and the MindWorks program has and continues to revolutionize coaching and training in competitive swimming. Meanwhile, back in our little corner of Maine, John began his swimming career in the Bath YMCA back in 1971. His parents didn't realize he would join the team until other parents asked if they were coming to a swim meet to watch him swim. When the Waldmans moved to Booth Bay, John started a swim team at Booth Bay High. And when the coach was let go, John, at age 15, coached the team. He worked as a stonemason and lobsterman and had already started his first company stringing tennis rackets. By the time John came to Hebron, he had a strong sense of independence and a healthy streak of rebellion that can derail some but make others stronger. The deciding factor in where his rebellion were taken, like many adolescent kids, is often an outside influence, a friend or friends, teacher or coach, or a school with a personality of its own. Hebron has a soul. For over 200 years, Hebron has attracted the type of students and faculty that feed that soul, and in return, Hebron draws the very people we need to nurture us and choose the path of wisdom, truth, and right. A harmonic convergence of personalities. For John, it was his roommate Ken Daw, Coach Jim Keogh, Ned Willard, Jack Suter, Jay Woolsey, the swim team. The names change over the generations, but the results are the same, as is the gratitude we feel for the kindness and guidance at a time when we often need it the most. I am sure it's difficult for John to see the impact his coming to Hebron had, but I am just one of many who became better athletes and people for having crossed paths with John Waldman, for his part in completing what is the harmony of Hebron. My personal and everlasting memory of John's career at Hebron was his senior year at New England Championships. John had gotten mono, and although John was clearly the class of swimming in New England, mono is devastating to all who get it, let alone high-level athletes. As the finals of the 100 breaststroke approached, there was a buzz beyond the normal excitement of a championship meet. And as the athletes lined up, the chant began. It was low and slow. Hebron started it, but as it grew, it wasn't just us chanting. It was everyone, coaches, athletes, and parents, from all over New England, in a long, slow crescendo that just got louder and louder. Waldman. Later, our Hebron bus driver, Bob Clough, said he could hear it and even feel it as he sat in the bus out in the parking lot. John won, setting the school record and securing his All-American status. Talent like John's always inspires either fear, hatred, and jealousy, or fear, admiration, and respect. It was and is perfectly clear which way John tips that scale. Ladies and gentlemen, with the admiration and respect of all of us who have benefited from his friendship, coaching, and example, Waldman.
I don't want to leave it up there. I'm a few years older than him. I figured I wanted to lose it.